let's be honest for a second. If you're always broke by Friday, it's not because Friday is cursed. It's not because your bank hates you. And it's not because money just goes fast. It's because your week has no dang structure. And when your money has no structure, it disappears on schedule. And most people don't run out of money randomly, they run out of money predictably. Every single week follows the same emotional pattern. Monday, you feel responsible. Tuesday, you're steady. Wednesday, you're a little tired. And Thursday, you justify something small. Friday, you're broken, confused. So let's break down what actually is happening. The first reason you're always broke by Friday is front loaded spending. You spend the most early in the week. Groceries, gas, eating out, Amazon orders, subscriptions hitting, little, I'll deal with it later purchases. By the time Friday shows up, the damage is already done. Friday just reveals it. And here's what most people don't realize: your money doesn't vanish on Friday, it vanishes Monday through Thursday. Friday is just when your awareness catches up. Another reason you're broke by Friday: you treat the weekend like it's separate from your financial reality. Weekdays feel structured: work, routine, responsibility. But by Friday night, flips a switch. Now it's let's go out and let's order in and let's do something, or I worked all week. And suddenly your discipline the weekend off too. And here's the problem: if your income is fixed, but your spending spikes every weekend, your financial life will always feel tight because you built a weekly spending surge into your system and you don't budget for it. You just hope it works out. Another uncomfortable truth is you don't actually know your weekly numbers. Most people think in monthly terms because that's how bills are structured, but spending happens weekly. If you don't know how much you can safely spend per week, not per month, you will overspend every single time. And let's say you have $2,400 left after bills each month. That's not $2,400 to spend. That's $600 per week. But if you think in monthly terms, 2,400 feels big. If you think in weekly terms, 600 feels real. And real numbers change behavior. Another reason you're broke by Friday is small daily leaks: coffee, snacks, quick convenient purchases, delivery fees, random $20. None of them feel dramatic, but five $20 decisions is $100. Do that every week, and that's $400 a month, almost $5,000 a year. And you're still say, I don't know where my money goes. It goes to frictionless spending, spending that requires no pause. Now let's talk about emotional fatigue. By the end of the week, your willpower is lower. You're tired, you're stressed, you want relief. So your spending becomes emotional instead of intentional. That Thursday night Uber Eats, it wasn't about food, it was about not wanting to think. That Friday purchase, it wasn't about the item, it was about reward. And when you use money to compensate for exhaustion, Friday becomes expensive. Another reason why you're always broke by Friday: you spend based on your bank account balance and not your budget. This one is huge. You open your app, you see $380, and you think, I'm fine. But that $380 has to last 5 days. Your bank balance doesn't tell you what's safe to spend, it tells you what hasn't cleared yet. Without groceries, every dollar looks available. And when everything feels available, everything gets used. Here's another truth: you don't plan for the weekend, you react to it. If you know you're going out Friday night and you don't pre-allocate money for it earlier in the week, you'll overspend because it feels spontaneous. But weekends aren't surprises, they happen 7 days a week. If you're always broke by Friday, it's because you haven't built Friday into your system. And another big one: you confuse I can afford it with it fits the plan. If you technically have money, you assume it's fine. But affordability isn't the standard. Sustainability is, though. You can afford a $120 night out, but can you afford it every week? Your financial health isn't determined by what you can afford once, it's determined by what you can afford consistently. And now let's get uncomfortable. If you're always broke by Friday, you probably don't track anything, not closely, not daily. You check your balance when you feel anxious. You avoid it when you don't. But awareness is the difference between control and chaos. People who don't track spend emotionally, people who track spend intentionally. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it has to exist. Another reason you don't separate money. Bills and spending money live in the same account. So when you dip into that account midweek, you're quietly stealing from future obligation because nothing has bounced yet. You think you're okay until Friday. Then stress shows up. Here's something else nobody wants to admit. You might be bored, and boredom is expensive. Scrolling leads to spending. Convenience leads to spending. Social media leads to spending. When your, default activity is consumption, your financial outcome is depletion. Friday isn't the issue. Unstructured time is. Now let's talk about identity. If being broke by Friday is something you joke about, you're normalizing it. You've turned it into a personality. But normalization makes patterns permanent. If every week ends the same way, that's not coincidence. That's design. And design can be a change. And here's the shift. Okay, stop thinking monthly. Start thinking weekly. Divide your available spending into strict weekly numbers. Move only that amount into spending accounts. When it's gone, it's gone. Now Friday becomes boring, and boring is good. Next, shift, pre-plan your weekend. If you know Friday costs you $150 on average, build it in. Remove the guilt, remove the surprise, control the spike instead of pretending it won't happen. Another shift, automate savings before Monday starts. If your future money, leaves your account immediately, you can't accidentally burn it by Thursday. And finally, reduce decision fatigue. Plan the meals, limit spontaneous spending, and create default low cost routines because when you're tired, you'll always choose convenience, and convenience costs money. And here's the bottom line, you're not broke by Friday because you're irresponsible. You're broke by Friday because your money has no boundaries. Without boundaries, spending expands to the edges of your comfort. And comfort feels good midweek, but stressful at the end. You know, the goal isn't to eliminate fun at all. It's to eliminate surprise. If every Friday feels tight, it's not a mystery, it's math. Design your week, cap your spending, pre-plan your fun, track daily, separate accounts, automate your growth, and watch what happens. Friday stops being stressful because you stopped letting your week run you and started running your week instead. Thanks for watching. For some more money making tips and money savings tips, check this video out to the right, and we'll catch you on the next one. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you would too. And you know what? If you want to support the channel, go ahead and buy me a coffee. It's down in the description, and we'll check you on the next one.